GeekyKOOL presents The Professor and Ace, Episode 7. Hey guys, this is the Professor Ace. Will be right back. She's not actually inviting some of you guys to come on in and join us. So those of you out there that are watching, thank you. I do see we've got one person watching, and that's fantastic. We're going to get started here. We're actually, and there's Ace right there. We're going to talk about...
Professor, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me now?
I can't hear you at all.
Really? Okay, well, that's weird because you could hear me and now you can't.
Hi, guys. Hey, if anyone's watching, can you hear us? Because I can't hear him.
Hello, hello, hello. It looks like it's working. It shows me working. It says you can hear me.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I can't hear you at all. Yay.
How about now? Can you hear me now? Nope.
Hi, guys. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
I don't know what that was. So, all right. Well, for if nobody could hear me, just welcome to GeekyKOOL presents Professor and Ace, Episode 7. We're going to talk about last Monday and not about the Memorial Day part, even though we do honor our soldiers that have fallen and our service people like firemen and police officers that have fallen in service. We honor those, but we're actually going to talk about the other portion of Monday, which was 3 geek holidays all combined together.
3 of I'm just like, it's weird that they fall like that, but I know why one of them falls like that. If you technically count, and you're a Star Wars fan, which I know you are, it could possibly be 4 holidays because...
Well, Geek Pride Day actually came about because of Star Wars Day, which is interesting because now we've kind of changed Star Wars Day to be May the 4th, but traditionally it's been associated with May 25th, which Geek Pride kind of enveloped that, and the whole reason it became Geek Pride Day was because it was Star Wars Day. So for those that don't know, May 25th, 1977 was the premiere of Star Wars in about 38 theaters across the U.S. is all, because they did not expect it to do well. And then, of course, it became the phenomenal, crazy thing of 1977 that everybody talked about. So, which, thank you, because as a fan, I love that. So the 3 major holidays we've got are Geek Pride Day, which encompasses Star Wars,
right,
because it's founded off Star Wars, the glorious 25th of May, and Tal Day.
Yes.
So 3 different pieces of geekdom all celebrating things on one day, which is kind of wild. You'd think they would have different days, but it's one day of the 3 of those. So
yes. Well, so I know like Geek Pride Day came about in 2006. It started in Spain.
Yep.
Spanish blogger was like, you know, he's a huge Star Wars fan, and he was like, everybody who's a geek should celebrate being a geek at least once a year.
Right.
I didn't know. I mean, I've heard about it a little bit, but I don't really celebrate Geek Pride Day just because I'm geeky all the time. I don't like hide my geek and then let it come out once a year. It's just always there. But I know it came about because of Star Wars Day, and then 2008 is when it started being celebrated in the United States.
Right.
And,
right.
But yeah.
Do you know what they did to celebrate in Spain for their first one?
I read somewhere, and I don't know if it's the first one or not, but was it the Human Pac-Man game?
It was a Human Pac-Man game, yeah.
Love that.
So yeah, that's how they celebrated.
That's so funny. Oh my God. I want to do that. Like, I want to be one of the hosts.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
chase around Pac-Man and
Oh my goodness. Oh, and then we have Tal Day,
Yep.
which is 25th as well. And it's, if anybody's a fan of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, they'll know why it's called Tal Day. It's because, you know, the Tal is the most useful thing interstellar hitchhiker, because it can be done. You can use it for everything, and
You can.
that's in the books. And so, in 2001, May 25th, 2001, fans of Douglas decided to celebrate him, and they decided to do that. This was weeks after he died, and to carry a towel around with them to kind of, you know, pay homage to him and honor him, and it's just a thing. So,
yep. Which it is interesting. It falls on the same day. It was 2 weeks after his death, and Douglas Adams, the author of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and several other series. My favorite part about the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, it's a 5-book trilogy.
Right.
That's the kind of tongue-in-cheek humor through the whole thing.
I know. So I was telling the professor this before we went live, and don't judge me too much. I have seen the movie, but I've heard the movie's not as good as the books. But I've never read the book. I've bought it 9 times. Every time I have it at my house, somebody comes over, says they would love to read it. I'm the type of person, I have books all over the house. And I'm like, you know what? It's like 4th in my pile. Yeah, take it, read it. And it never comes back. So I bought the book, and not just like the Hitchhiker's Guide, but like all the books together in the big one. I bought that 9 different times. So I kind of feel like the galaxy's telling me I don't need to read it yet, because people are. So I'm just like trying to figure that out. Sorry, that was kind of gross. I had a message, and you guys got to see my yucky hand. But yeah, so hopefully I'm planning on buying it again, because it's my boyfriend's favorite book, and maybe I'll actually get to read it. So,
well, we got a few comments coming in, so let's hit those. So this goes back to where we were having some sound issues. Bethany, hi Bethany.
Hi, Beth.
She could hear us, so that's good. Or hear me, and Damon could hear me. So
I just couldn't there for a minute. I have no idea.
I don't know. Sometimes that gets a little weird. So
yeah, if you're not lagging as much, like, I know that sounds weird because I've watched the playback of our lives, and you can't tell they're lagging. But when we're doing this, sometimes you lag a little, and there's like that momentary thing where
right.
Who's on here with us? Like, he's in the studio and I'm out here, and I can hear him talking before he actually talks on the video. So I have like this echo. But
I hate the echo effect.
Yeah. Hi, you guys. I'm glad to see you guys all here. I invited a bunch of people. I kicked over to Facebook for a second when we first started, and everything. So you made Chad watch the movie recently. Very cool. I watched the movie when it first came out, but I haven't since. I feel like such a geek trader that I huge thing. I
don't think it has anything to do with that, because you're not wanting to read it. You want to read it. It's just a matter that you haven't yet. That's okay, because you've seen the movie, so you have some reference, and the movie's good. The interesting thing is, the books came off of, he was writing, and started writing for a radio show in England, and then that kind of evolved into, he wrote these books, and then he did a radio version of the books, and then, but every time he would do a new version of it, he would change it, because he's a writer who likes to go in and go, oh, this would be better like this, which I understand. I'm the same way.
You tweak things
all the time, and sometimes it just has to be done. But with Douglas Adams, it never was. So he loved the movie version, and it wasn't the first movie version, but he loved the movie version, thought it was great, and it kind of, people that criticized it, he's like, I wrote it. I like it. So whatever you want to think. So
No, well, see, movie adaptations are always difficult because one, if it's an iconic book that people are already in love with, anytime
right,
you do an adaptation, you have to take a book that probably could be like a 4 to 6 hour movie, and you have to cut it down to 2 hours or less
right,
usually.
right,
And you have to edit. And yes, there are going to be things anytime a book's made into a movie that they edit like a favorite part out or something like that. Um, he never heard of it. Did you read Roselle's
yeah, I
March?
read that. Yeah, yeah,
Oh my gosh! Oh, yeah, no, no. I at least know about it. But yeah, anytime you do that, it's a risk. Some of my favorite, I love literature and I love books and I love adaptations of it. Um, but I always go into it knowing that it's going to be a little bit different than the book
right,
because the closest ones that I've found who actually like comparatively do adaptations really well, but they do it in like mini series form that's like 6 hours long, are like the BBC, and that's with British literature. So
right.
like Jane Austen books and stuff like that, they
Mhm.
tend to are like War and Peace. I just finished the mini series War and Peace, and it was 8 episodes. I like literally
Yeah.
just finished. Yeah.
Well, and with War and Peace, that's huge. So anyway, but yeah, I actually think that's probably a wave of the future. A lot of books are going to get adapted, are going to be getting adapted into places like Amazon, Netflix, Disney Plus, and then you're going to have that ability to be able to tell more of the story there rather than just a 2 hour movie. I think that really is the wave of the future with a
Oh,
lot of that.
yeah. And you have to, like, if you really want to tell in depth. And then there's the adaptations that add so much, like
Right.
the hot, like it's a children's book. I know it's a advanced child's book, but it's a children's book. They added he added so much to the Hobbit that it was just not the same story. The movie. I like the movie though, so don't get me wrong.
No, oh, I did too. He when he did that, he took things from the other books that they were
Yeah.
going to go and adapt. So, and some of them are kind of very loose stories that Tolkien told. So it kind of fit to do that. I understood it. To me, it wasn't nearly as good as the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, which I thought did a really good job. Still left things out of the books, but did a
Yes.
really good job telling those stories. So, but yeah, talking about Douglas Adams, being dyslexic,
Yes.
being somebody who has to have, I cannot read a book if I don't know where the end of the chapter is because I have to have a motivation for chapters. So I
Oh
tried to read Dune originally, and Dune did not have chapters. It was
no,
just
it's
one long story. I couldn't finish it. It was interesting, but I got overwhelmed.
right. You have to have like a stopping point in your head
I
and then another
do.
point. Yeah.
But,
No, I
but for people like me, Douglas Adams is great because he writes 2 page chapters, 3 page chapters.
right.
They're very short. It's very humorous and it's easy reading. I have a master's degree, but I still prefer easy reading over reading the super big word, complex things. I need to remember that when I'm writing because I have a tendency to get a little long-winded, and I'm like, I can just be like Douglas Adams and just keep it short.
Right. I am. I enjoy reading things like that, but my favorite books of all time are very like difficult reads.
Mhm.
Like they're books that when people are like, "You read this? I can't believe you understood it." I read Wuthering Heights when I want to say 11 years old, and it became one of my favorite books. But Wuthering Heights is a complicated book with like words that just aren't used in the English language over
Right.
here in America at all. And so yeah, but so I'm like reversed. If it's too simple, I get bored with it.
I
I
can see
can
that.
and I'll enjoy it, but it won't become my favorite book.
I get that. Big dyslexic, my challenges were a little different. Now, since got my master's degree, I've read a ton of complicated theory
Yeah,
stuff and all of that with my counseling degree. So I've read all this stuff, and so I'm sure my reading ability is a lot higher than it used to be. But
but
I
it's
just remember, I mean, Tolkien about killed me in Fellowship of the Ring when he started talking about the trees. It just about killed me.
That part. I did like no, like we could do a whole episode on Tolkien and Lord of the Rings and the world that he created. I did a thesis in high school about it and it being the Industrial Revolution instead of like the teacher take a piece of literature and compare it to something and I'm like it's the Industrial Revolution, like taking back the planet and like killing, and she was like no, I was talking about like take whatever the little was and compare it like the Outsiders, which I love, but she was like something like that, compare it to like your childhood, or something. I'm like, no, I'm gonna do a big thing. It was like 20 pages. My teacher hated me. We could talk about books all the time. I am
well, and I'm all right with that. I like books. I don't read as much as I should, but I like books. So.
Right. So speaking of books, our other holiday, which was on the 25th, is the glorious 25th of May. And it's from Sir Terry Pratchett, who wrote the Discworld series, which is 40 books. I did not realize that I actually knew a little bit about this until you were telling me that you were going to do this. And I was like, I don't know these books, but I actually do a little bit because I watched a mini series with Sean Astin and Tim Curry called The Color of Magic, which is one of the books from that series.
It is.
I watched it when it first came out, or when I first got Netflix, so probably 2010. But the glorious 25th of May, do you know how it came about?
I do. You want to share with everybody?
Yes. In one of the 40 books, which is...
well, and those are just his Discworld books. He has over 100 books published.
Yeah, just the Discworld books is 40 books. Which he has, his books are very humorous and very like satire and witty, but in like non-preachy way kind of thing too. So he's very similar. What I was reading about Douglas Adams and him, they have not the same writing style, but a very similar satire.
Right, they do. Yeah.
And so in one of his books, which is in the Night Watch, Discworld is a fantasy world it's a flat world. So for all the flat earthers out there, it's a world, but it's being carried on the back of 4 giant elephants that are riding on the back of a giant turtle.
Yeah.
Which that's just beautiful imagery for me. And in this book, the people have a revolution against like basically the police. They have a revolution and it's on May the 25th. And in honor of that, it's their Memorial Day, basically. They wear lilacs in their lapels every May the 25th. It's called Glorious May the 25th. Terry Pratchett, Sir Terry Pratchett, in 2007, he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, or it was announced he had Alzheimer's. And so his fans, in order to honor him and show their love for him, on May the 25th, they begin wearing lilacs in their lapels or on their clothes or carrying lilacs somewhere on their person as kind of an honor to him. So all 3 of our holidays, like 2 of them are just people honoring writers who've created worlds that they love.
Mm-hmm.
And I just now want to read the Discworld books because I'm like very interested in, it's 40 books. First of all, I'm a writer. Like a lot of you guys don't know that. Some of you do. Like if you, back in like 2008, there was a website that I used to write on all the time. And some of my friends who are on Facebook have actually read my stuff from that website. But I don't write a lot anymore. Like my novels and stuff have kind of just sat there forever. But to be able to write 40 books in a series plus 100 books, like, dude.
I know.
I can't finish one.
I'm with you. I'm still working on my novel. So yeah, I'm with you completely. So, no. Well, let me read a quote from the book. And I'm not sure which book this one comes from, but it kind of tells about a little bit about the celebration, which everything, like you said, everything is kind of tongue-in-cheek humor. I have read, oh, what happened?
What?
I all suddenly went black here. Hold on.
I still see you.
Okay, well, that's good. Because, oh, I love when stuff like that happens. Okay, there we are. I'm back. All right, I can see myself now. I can see you. Yay. So, I've read part of one of his books, and I started reading it, and Buddy had lent it to me, and then he wanted it back before I was done with it. And I always wanted to get back to him because there's also a humor level very similar to Dean Allen, not Dean Allen. Oh gosh, what's his name? Spell singer, Alan Dean Foster.
Yes.
So
Sorry.
no, it just took me a moment. So Alan Dean Foster. So Sir Pratchett's style is a little different than Alan Dean Foster, but the humor level is very similar, and there are a lot of tongue-in-cheek, a lot of humorous things happening to the characters, and a lot of the way he writes the characters actually talking is hysterical. So, but here's what it says about the 25th of May. The 25th of May is quietly celebrated by the survivors of the People's Revolution, which ended the reign of Lord Winder. They wear a sprig of lilac and gather at the Small God Cemetery to honor the watchmen who fell. The slogan of the People's Revolution was truth, freedom, reasonably priced love, and a hard-boiled egg.
I love that.
So some of his fans not only will wear the lilac, but carry a hard-boiled egg. I've never actually ran into anybody doing that, but I've read and I've seen some stuff. My question's always, if I ever see somebody, I want to ask them, so what's the reasonably priced for love today?
What's the market price? That's hilarious.
I know. That's the kind of humor that he wrote into his books, and just really kind of straight-faced. You can almost see him delivering it. His voice throughout his books is pretty unified, even when he's having other people speak. It's a really interesting voice that he brings to his books, which is really cool because it's like the narrator is a part of the story without being part of the story.
Well, and I will tell you this, like, because you didn't even know the miniseries existed.
I did not.
We just talked about it. It's on Vudu, by the way, guys, for free if you guys want to go watch it. It's a 3-part miniseries. Sean Astin plays in it, and Tim Curry, like I said, and I love anything Tim Curry's in. But I do remember the very first moments of the movie, like a wizard tourist gets stuck on this world or something like that, and it is the narrator is part of the story, but he's not.
Right.
So I can see how that would work in his books. I mean, I feel like it's an interesting writing style, and I didn't realize they were books. You didn't realize it was miniseries.
Right.
So,
exactly.
So, but no, I found it very interesting. I remember watching it when it first came out, or when I first had it available. I think it was like around 2010, and I remember watching it and really loving it. It's a mini series made for TV. You know, it's not high quality cinematic, like special effects or anything like that. You can tell, but it's got such amazing actors in it that you can just forgive some of that other stuff.
Right.
So now I've got to go read the books, and Professor there's going to go watch the miniseries sometime.
Well, and I need to read some more of the books. So, but it's now the really interesting thing, because I've noticed this, death plays a huge part in the books, and he's a character in almost all the books. But death is very different than the death character that we usually see. He's the skeleton and all that, and he comes to take you away, but he has an appreciation for humanity and a curiosity about humanity. One of the books is It's this world's version of Santa Claus, the Hog King, the Hog Father. That's it. Yeah, and really interesting because in there he has a line about humanity and how humanity has to believe the small lies to be able to believe the big lies such as freedom and justice and I'm like, wow, that's really deep.
Yeah, well, and it's like that's what I was when you gave this topic, because we don't just come into this like not knowing what we're going to talk about. We actually have a little bit of a topic, so I can look things up. I was reading about Sir Terry Pratchett, and a lot of like the people who have done reviews on him or interviewed him and stuff said that he took a tongue-in-cheek approach to like the actual things that face society and the actual problems and what he wanted humanity to be like and why he wanted humanity to be like that, but not in a way that took itself too serious.
Right.
And you sent me that video of the YouTube video of the Hogfather.
Right. Yes.
I watch it, and it was beautiful. It was like, first of all, that video is that from a show, or is it just like a YouTube thing?
I'm guessing it was from a show, but I couldn't find anything about it, so I'm not sure.
The girl who's in that video is the girl from Downton Abbey.
Yeah.
Who played Mary in Downton Abbey, and I'm like going, this cannot just be for a YouTube video. I mean, I guess it could be. Like, I don't know, but I just felt like it should be like a movie. But yeah, no, I thought it was beautiful when he says that to her. Like when she's like, why do we lie? And he's like, we lie to believe the big stuff. We don't have basis in life for justice and freedom. And I know people think we do. They're concepts. And we believe in them because we want to believe in them. And then we live our lives to gain them because we want to believe in them. But it's not that they're lies necessarily if you live your life like that, but it's not something that's a fundamental truth. It's not like the grass is green because of chlorophyll.
Right.
That's not scientifically proven. Nothing, ethics and things that we hold truth in our way of living aren't necessarily truths that we can prove.
Right.
Like they're concepts that we thrive to do. And in order to thrive to do those, we have to believe in little things, like especially as children, and we have to embrace like fairy tales and fantasy and believe in something, because I just can't even, I still believe in fairy tales and fantasies. So, but I can't imagine growing up without the imagination that those have instilled in me, and reading books and watching movies and stuff like that have actually had profound effects on who I am as a person because I believe in the things that they taught me.
Right.
So I thought that was beautiful. And I think when we get done with this, we should try to set a link to that video so people can
do that.
watch what you sent me, because I thought I had never seen it and I thought it was beautiful. Made me want to read it.
I know that I was the same way. I was like, oh, I gotta read that book because that's a fascinating story. So, but yeah, I've never seen that. Now I've seen some of the animated shorts and some of the. I think I watched like an hour and a half animated movie off one of the books, which was really interesting. So I know there've been things done, and as we know, the BBC is known for doing stuff and going out and pulling stuff in. There is talk about adapting these stories for a platform like Netflix or Amazon or Disney Plus, and that would be really interesting.
And if the BBC's involved, it's probably going to be Amazon just because they do partner a lot. I would love that. I do find it interesting, if you look at the writers that have this kind of magical world fantasy kind of thing that people take into heart and stuff. I do find it very unusual that most, like, not all of them, but a lot of them are like British.
Right. It's true.
I mean, when you think about things like, you know, you think about even the classics like Lewis Carroll and all of that, like, that's where they come from. And I wonder, like, if it has something to do with how they're raised as children. Like, they don't seem to lose their childhood wonder as much as they do. And I want that.
Well, even to the kids story writers like A.A. Milne and a lot of those, very British, but the stories they tell are so engrossing because they did hold on to that. Even though a lot of them went through either World War I or World War II fighting and then having those issues. You know, that's where Tolkien came from. That's where C.S. Lewis came from. A lot of those really great writers had those experiences that were so traumatic, but yet they held through that imagination.
Well, I mean, like, look at The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Yeah.
All that. Like, that's, like, I don't know. I think to myself, I wish I had some of their spark for imagination. And other people say that I do. And I'm not putting myself down. I'm just saying, like, other people read my stuff, they like my stuff, that sort of thing. But I wish I had enough confidence in my own imagination to just go with it, or do like what Douglas Adams apparently did, which was rewrite it every time he read it.
Which is what he did.
Just put it out there. If you don't like it after it's published and stuff, you just rewrite it after you read it. Like, I'm like, dude, that's a beautiful, like, if you're not a writer or an artist in some kind of way, you won't understand what I'm about to say. But most people are artists in their own way, in no matter what. A lot of people have artistic abilities. But we are our worst critics.
Oh, people, yeah.
Writers, artists, you can look at your art and you will always find the flaws in that. Mm-hmm. And to be able to be like, okay, I didn't like this, but I put it out into the world anyway, that takes courage.
Right.
And then be able to be like, have enough gumption to then, okay, so I didn't like that, or I want to change it just a little bit now. Like, after they have fans who have, like, eaten it up, like it's, you know, part of their world, like they've, like, enveloped it into, now it's part of who they are. And yet you change it every time you write it, like, or read it. That's a beautiful thing. That is confidence beyond anything I can imagine. So I want some of that confidence.
Yeah, I'm with you. Well, and with especially my poetry, when I go back and reread it, I'm like, oh, this word's a much better word here. Let's use this word now. Or, oh, I need to change kind of that didn't quite have the feel of that. I need to update that way it has the rhythm I'm looking for. And so I do that every time I go back and read a poem I've written. And some of my short stories I've totally rewritten before. So yeah, I get that. I'm hoping that, you know, in the next year or so, I'll finish my novel and be able to get it out there, and then I'll be able to rewrite it anytime I want to after that. So that's my hope.
It gives me, like, just knowing that gives me more hope that, like, yeah, I can. Who says I can't rewrite something after it's been published? No.
Exactly. Adams did it all the time.
For him, it's good enough for anyone.
Exactly.
No, like, beautiful. It's his towel. It was his towel. He, like, I wiped it away and let's start something new. It's
exactly right. Well, talk about Douglas Adams, because Towel Day was one of the days. When he died, he was only 49 years old.
Yeah.
He was a young man and had this great following of people, especially with the Hitchhiker series. He wrote several other series that were really good too. And but it was a sad thing when I heard that he passed away, because here went one of the writers that I looked up to, that I was taking inspiration from. And also knowing the struggles he had personally with some self-esteem and some other things, because I'd heard him speak a few times online and some other things, not in person, but knowing that I'm like, he was just a guy who liked the right, and he was critical of himself, but yet he loved this thing and he put it out there. And so definitely want to take a moment to say that about Douglas Adams. Phenomenal writer, and died way too early. Wish we could have had another 40 books from him, like Sir Terry Pratchett. So
yeah.
Let me read something about towels, since we're supposed to, since it's Towel Day.
Hey.
Let me read a quote from the book, and it's in like the 3rd chapter of the book. I've read this over and over and over again, and I just love this quote. So according to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is a book with inside the book, yes. The name of the book is about a book that you carry around with you to help you travel across the galaxy in case your planet's blown up like Earth is.
I mean, it's like the Boy Scouts, always be prepared.
Exactly. So here's what the guide says. A towel, it says, is about the most massively useful thing of an interstellar hitchhiker can have, partially because it's a great practical value. You can wrap it around you for warmth. You can bound across the cold moons of Jagla Beta. You can lie on it in the brilliant marble sands of the beaches of Sartanius 5. Inhale heavy sea vapors. You can sleep underneath it of the stars, which shine so red in the desert of the Kakarafum. Use it as a sail for a mini raft down the slowly heavy river Moth. Wet it for use of hand-to-hand combat. Wrap it around your head to wane off the noxious fumes, or avoid the gaze of the ravenous blabber beast of Trawl. And it goes on and on. I just love, very creative way to talk about a towel. Why it's the most useful thing.
Well, it's the most useful thing. Like, he makes you think a towel is the most useful thing.
It is.
But to be able to take a common thing that people usually use to just dry themselves off.
Right.
Or pick up a spill or something like that to absorb water. That's what we use towels for, to absorb moisture.
Right.
Take something as benign and ordinary and create not just one or two, but like a whole list of useful things in imaginative places that this average, completely like normal household item can now become your saving grace for everything.
Right.
That's a beautiful ability. He had a beautiful ability to be able to do that. Like, if I'm describing it, if I write about a towel, I'm probably gonna, like most people would describe the towel.
Right.
He doesn't ever describe the towel in that.
No.
He just says carry a towel.
Right.
Just carry a towel. It's the most useful thing. Even if like other people see you, they're gonna think that hitchhiker has a towel. He must have other things. They're gonna draw assumptions about your wealth or your ability to hitchhike or whatever it is, just because you have a towel.
Right.
And it's a beautiful sentiment, and it's a very unusual ability to be able to take something as mundane as a towel and create so many circumstances that this would become your saving grace. I love that.
I do too.
I think next May the 25th, I'm going to get a towel and I'm going to embroider lilacs on it. And now I'm just going to carry it around.
There you go. So a few years ago, I haven't done the last few years because of other things, and of course this year completely out because of our circumstances with staying home and all that. But I have carried a towel around work all day and wore a lilac on my shirt while wearing a Star Wars shirt to hit all three of them.
There you go. It's everything.
That was my plan.
Well, this year, because it happened to be Memorial Day too, you would have to wear an American flag.
Right,
So
exactly.
you hit all of them. Like that hardly ever happens where like everything hits on one day, but yeah, it just did. No, I love that. I've never celebrated Geek Pride Day. I celebrate Geek Pride Day every day, so I don't pick a day of the year to be like, I'm a geek. Like, if you don't know I'm a geek, you don't know me.
Right.
Um, so, like, I'm usually working. It's Memorial Weekend, and it's or close to Memorial Weekend. I live in a tourist town, and usually I am completely focused on work and not anything else.
Right.
But yeah, like next year, I'm totally gonna do that. Like, I'm gonna be at work, and people are gonna think I'm a weirdo. But that's okay because I am.
Well, you know me, I'm always wearing geek shirts. I talk geek constantly. People that know who I am know that I'm just like this world's biggest geek, and that's
Right.
perfectly cool with me. I celebrate Geek Pride Day just basically to kind of let people know,
All the time.
hey, it's okay to like these things. And here's the
Right.
cool thing is there's 3 holidays together that you get to celebrate, which is kind of fun.
Right. And the thing is they encompass. I mean, Geek Pride Day encompasses anything, and that's the other thing I think is really important. Yes, it started off as a Star Wars. Like he loves Star Wars, so he picked that day because it's the day Star Wars came out. But it's grown to the point that whatever your geekdom is, whatever
Mhm.
your geekdom is, you display that on that day as like, especially if you don't usually. Like
Right.
if you work in an office and you can't wear anything fun and you can't do, and people don't know that you're a geek, which I just can't even imagine. Like open my will just go, you're a little geeky. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But if you do live like that, then once a year, like just be
Mhm.
proud of being a geek. I think that's great because just like there was a time, and I remember it growing up when being called a geek was a bad thing.
It was.
It was, I was a geek, a nerd, a weirdo, and I was like ostracized to where I ate lunch in the cafe or not in the cafeteria in the library just so I could read books and I wouldn't get teased. Um, Now it's like geeks are cool.
Right.
um,
It's
and
kind of weird, isn't it?
it's so weird. And then people are like, people get so wrapped up in their own fandoms, and then they're like, "But you're not a true fan or whatever," and that's like that's ridiculous. Don't be a gatekeeper. I've said this before on this show. Don't do it. Like if somebody's new to your fan, bring them in, teach them, let them love it or hate it or like it a little bit. Um, and anytime you can open up a new fandom, like I'm gonna go out and like find the Discworld books just because I am now very interested in them. Anytime you can find something new that you can like learn to love, do it. Do it.
Uh, with you 100% there, girl. Yeah, it's funny because there's a type of geek out there, or the mindset of we've paid our dues, we were given wedgies, we were called these names, and if you haven't had that experience, you're not really a geek. No,
Right.
that's not it at all. That's not what makes you a geek. It's your love, your
Right.
crazy love for something. And guess what? With your fandom, people are new to certain fandoms sometimes. People
Yeah.
aren't going to always jump right in and know it, like, oh, I like the last Batman movie. Like, okay, well, you're not really a Batman fan if you can't name all 5 Robins and know all 3 Batgirls and
Right.
know, you can't name these things and you're not one of us. And here's the thing, people, teach them that. You don't,
Right. And if they're not interested in
yeah,
Doctor Who is a perfect example of this. Because, and I say that only because it's been around longer than most
right.
fandoms, um, other than some comic books, but like a multimedia kind of fandom. Doctor Who's perfect example of this. When people are like, I don't watch the old Doctors, I only watch from Chris on, or I only watch from Matt on, or I got into it with David. I've never watched anything before that. And then people like jump down their throats. And I'm like, you know, the older doctors are things that you appreciate, unless you watched them back in the day, like I did. There are things that you learn to appreciate as you learn to love the show.
Right.
They're not necessarily the special effects are cheesy. The like I was talking about the Color of Magic. The special effects are cheesy, but you learn to love things in a different way. And if somebody's like, I only watched one episode of Doctor Who, and it was, you know, the Van Gogh episode, which is one of my favorite episodes of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
I love it, but I'm not interested in anything else. I'm like, you know what? That's okay.
Yeah.
Like, that's okay. You loved it. By the way, I have, you know, anybody who's watched this the last couple times we've done this, my boyfriend Shboo's been on with us, the Scallywag. And he's a huge Star Wars fan, and I'm a huge Doctor Who fan. I will watch Star Wars. He hates Doctor Who. Yesterday, he told me that he would be willing to watch some episodes with me.
Oh, there you go.
So I'm like,
you're getting to them.
Episodes. Like,
well, I think it also helps if you're watching something new with somebody that loves it, especially somebody that is wanting to kind of embrace you in it. Not the person who's going to be judgy, but the person who's going to say, hey, what do you think? Do you want to watch another one? Did you like this part? What did you like? What did you not like? And I think that's awesome. I
can carry on. I mean, we were talking about it, and he lets me talk because, you know, we're in a relationship. So even if we don't, I've only watched the original. Awesome, Rosal. You should watch some of the newer ones too, though. They're really good. But I told him we were talking about some of the episodes, and he just lets me talk because, you know, he's supportive, even if he has no interest in it. And he was like, he just looked at me and he goes, I will watch some Doctor Who with you. And I was like, yes. Just because I think he realizes that it's such an important thing to me and that I love it so much that maybe some of the episodes he's watched, he didn't like watch the ones that I love. I love all of them, but there are ones that I'm like, they're not my favorite, you know, like they're and stuff. And so, yeah, so now I've got to come up with a list, and I probably will go on GeekyKOOL.com of some of my favorite Doctor Who episodes from Chris on. I'm not going to make him watch the old stuff. I feel like he would get totally bored with that. But, and that, so I'm going to try to get a list together of some of my favorite episodes.
Now, if you can get him involved to where he starts embracing some of that, then taking him back to some of the older stuff would be a lot of fun. And I like the older stuff, but it took me a while. I didn't like it when I was young because one, I had no point of reference, and I was trying to watch it on PBS, and I was trying to, you know, I came in the middle of an arc because they always had those like 5-episode arcs, and I came in and not doing anything, and it was
Whereas the new ones have a few that are arcs like that, but they have standalone episodes, and they also have episodes in the middle of an arc that you can watch, and it's not so discombobulated, or you don't enjoy it. But you know, so yeah, I'm super excited. I thought I'd share that with you guys just because anyone who knows the two of us know that's a huge deal.
That is.
I think he feels bad for me too. Like he's been last week.
We did spend 2 episodes here talking about Star Wars, so you know, you kind of.
I watch Star Wars all the time. He watches the Clone Wars, and he's done research on some things that he's doing for Scallywag Productions on some of the Star Wars movies and stuff like that. So I've had to rewatch a lot of them. It's good. You know, when you love somebody, you just embrace what they like to a little bit, and at least try to.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't work, but you try.
Right. Well, it wasn't like you hated them. You just it wasn't your thing, so that's okay.
I just hate Luke, so I'm sorry.
Which is bad because Luke is my favorite. So.
Here's the thing: Luke is the hero to almost everyone, the guys our age, because Luke was the everyday guy He's the Spider-Man of the Star Wars universe.
Yes.
He's an everyday guy, but he's a little bit whinier and not
He is. He's much whinier. But by the end of Return of the Jedi, though, he's not whiny anymore. He's kind of badass. So, well, he takes on Darth Vader and wins. Who Darth Vader had been just killing everybody, and then he goes face to face with the Emperor without his lightsaber. Now, not the smartest move.
No, but he's powerful. I don't know if I'd call him badass. He's powerful.
I don't know. When he kills the monster in Jabba's palace.
Yeah. No, I mean, impressive. He's impressive. I will give you that.
No. In the first movie, it's really funny when you realize that Luke and Leia are twins, and Leia she's been a senator. She's coming back with this rebellion that she's leading. She's got the stolen plans, and Luke is flying his plane. Whoa, look! Like, oh my God.
All the Star Wars heroes, all of them, whether it's the first three, or which, 4, 5, and 6, or whether it's 1, 2, and 3, or the new ones, all of the Star Wars heroes, the guys are whiny.
It's true. Yeah.
Anakin whiny. Completely whiny.
Yep.
Ben Solo, whiny.
Yeah.
Way whinier as Kylo Ren, but still.
It's true.
I wonder, but they have arcs. So
right.
In the end, they become, except Anakin, his arc is weird because it's and then it flatlines, and then it goes, and then it's evil, so his arc is his arc is dark side arc.
Yeah.
But still, he becomes less whiny as Darth Vader.
Well, that's true. He just kills him then. Yeah, you don't need to whine if you can just choke him.
It's amazing to me that we can have these conversations, and almost always it goes back to Star Wars and Doctor Who. I'm just saying.
That's because that's where our jam is. So
it is.
And Star Wars is a part of this with Geek Pride Day, because that's kind of
I'm back in front of my non-comic book wall.
That's really cool.
This is my anime wall, and I have Pokemon and Howl's Moving Castle and Avatar. If anybody hasn't watched Avatar, it's on Netflix right now.
It is.
It's my kid loved it, and so I had to love it because my kid loved it, but I actually love it now. And then we have, Full Metal Alchemist, we have Labyrinth, which is getting a sequel.
It is.
I don't know how I feel about it. I wish they would have made the sequel when Bowie was alive.
Yes.
I hope, when they do the sequel, I hope it's not Jareth. I hope it's another Goblin King or something like that. I can't picture anyone else playing Jareth.
Agreed.
So tell the story of the planet or the universe, the world, but don't bring Jareth. Let it be somebody else.
I
think work. I have my Sailor Moon. I have Doctor Who up at the top. I have the very top has my Disney villains, because I'm not a Disney princess girl. I'm a Disney villains girl. So look at I just thought it would be different. Cool. This is also in my living room. So I have my DC wall, I have my Marvel wall, and I have my anime wall.
Yes, you do.
Wall. So, yeah. But I just thought this would be cool. Geek Pride. So I was like, I'll show something off that's not necessarily all comic books. Right.
Well, and Geek Pride's about whatever you embrace there, geeky. Do it. Let it be yours.
I want to explain. I feel like somebody, if they're not on my friends list, will ask what the sling is. I fell last Wednesday. That's why we had to postpone yesterday, just because I hadn't had pain meds. I'm allergic to most over-the-counter pain meds, and I didn't have any pain meds until yesterday, and then I fell asleep because I got a pain med.
Do that.
But I fractured my elbow. and I sprained my wrist. So I fractured my left elbow, sprained my right wrist, and then lacerations on my right leg. So I'm not in great shape right now. So I appreciate all you guys' patience for waiting for this video, and we postponed it yesterday. So thanks.
Well, we're glad you're doing better, and hopefully you're going to heal quick. My mother had a very similar accident to what you did, by the way. She fell in a parking lot. She used to work at MSU. She worked in the library as a custodian, and when she was going to leave, because she worked till like 1 a.m., when she left, she tripped over something that was bad in the parking lot and fell and hurt her hand on one, broke her arm at the elbow, just like that. Now, she broke it also up here at an angle, which was much worse. Plus, she was, significantly older than you are. So, but yeah, and then she also hurt her knee, and that was kind of wild. And similar to you, she doesn't do well with pain meds. We found out she's allergic to most of them, but what she could take made her crazy.
Oh, that's not good. So I'm allergic to NSAIDs, Tylenol, morphine, codeine. There's another one. I can't even think of it. So basically, they give something, and I have to take. They give me tramadol, which is it has Tylenol in it. It has acetaminophen in it, but it has a small dose of acetaminophen. So every time I take a pain pill, I have to take 2 to 4 Benadryl. So I sleep.
Benadryl will do that, yeah. And pain meds will do that anyway, yeah.
So yesterday I had x-rays done. I had an orthopedic surgeon look at my arm. And then I had been without pain meds for like 3 days. And he prescribed the tramadol, but I have to take the Benadryl with it. And then doing the x-rays and stuff, they pushed my arm down. And then I had to twist it and stuff like that. And I was just in so much pain. And then when I took my medicine, I messaged Larry and I was like, I don't think I can do tonight's show just because I feel like I'll be asleep. And I did. I went to sleep at 6:30 last night.
Well, I figured. I was glad you told me because that made sense because I was worried about that part. So, but yeah, and that's fine. We're good moving it if we need to do that. Yeah.
I just appreciate you and everybody for being so understanding, and everything. And I'm just clumsy, so it's okay.
I am too, so it's all right. It's all right. All right.
Misty says she's allergic to morphine and codeine. Yeah, it's terrible when you're allergic to stuff I'm allergic to way more. That's just the pain meds I'm allergic to. But it's terrible when you're allergic to so much stuff. I went to the hospital for this, the ER that night, and they put 4 bracelets on me that they were allergic bracelets because they had to write everything. That's a big deal.
It is. She also says she's allergic to Benadryl, so that's problematic when you're talking about that. Wow. I'm allergic to like when you get poison ivy and they give you the injection for the steroid.
Yes.
Whatever it's called. Anyway, I'm allergic to that. Highly allergic.
Is it cortisone?
Yeah. No, it wasn't cortisone. What is it called? Anyway, but I start swelling up. I mean, like hugely. You can see my face just go. I'm like, okay, let's not do this.
I do that with Tylenol and acetaminophen. I break out in hives. But with NSAIDs and morphine and codeine and all of that, I literally go into anaphylactic shock. And I had to be like in the hospital for days because of it before. So yeah, I try not to do all of those things. So, but I appreciate everybody being patient. And I'm here. I'm a little broken, but I have a theory: broken is beautiful. So I'm just going with that. But yeah.
I agree. Well, you have to get a little broken to be molded in the right thing. A piece of steel is completely broken until you actually hammer it, put it in the fire, bend it, do everything that you're doing to it that wouldn't be very fun being that piece of steel, but then it becomes something useful. So
Right. And anybody who's been to my house knows that out front in my front yard, I have what I call my broken garden. And it's basically you can come over to my house if you're friends with me and you let me know you're coming. And I will have dishes that you can just take your frustration out and break, and they just lay there. And so I have this front, like it's right in front of my porch, and it's just always broken plates and stuff. And it's a reminder to me that broken is beautiful, and that even the smallest piece, the sharp edges can become like this beautiful masterpiece if they're laying together.
that's
And
true.
so I just like, that's kind of my philosophy, is just broken is beautiful. So like when people are like, I'm broken, or things happen and they're like, this will break me, I'm just like, broken is beautiful, just embrace it, and just try to be the best you can be in the situation, and then hopefully get stronger. So
Right on. Right on. It's such a great philosophy. That's how you got to take it, and especially with all the stuff going on out in the world right now. If you're not looking at stuff that way, that you know what, I'm going to be better even after this is over. This is going
right.
to be better. So, cortisone. That's exactly it. I'm allergic to cortisone. Yeah, yeah. That's a bad thing, but whatever. Oh,
Just
and
stay away from
she said you're just trying to keep up with her injuries there, AJ.
I can't. Misty is like, she's, every time I talk to her, there's something majorly wrong with her, and I'm like, girl, like, no, you had me beat 100% on that, sis. It's just how it is. But yeah, well, we're at hour,
We are.
so I guess.
Let's we'll wrap it up here, but wanted before we do that to
Yeah,
wish you a belated Geek Pride Day, glorious
yeah,
25th of May, Tal Day.
yeah, and hopefully next year, like if we don't have anything going on, maybe we can actually do a video
That would be awesome.
on the 25th.
Yeah, and it should
So,
not be Memorial Day next year. That was weird that it fell that way this year. So
it's like odd, but every few years it'll do that.
it's true. It's true. Well, let's give some shout outs to our friends out there before we leave. So, uh,
So first of all,
who do you want to go with?
let's go with the Scallywag, since he's not here with us tonight.
Yeah, we do miss him, and we appreciate when he shows up for us.
So check out Scallywag Productions on YouTube. He also has Facebook page and Instagram, and Twitter, and it's Shrew over there, and he does all kinds of videos. He does a collectible of the day on Instagram, so you can like check out some of the things that you see around my house. He actually takes pictures of them and posts them and stuff. But he does all kinds of videos on like movies and fun things and weird insights, and that man's mind is like a little off. So it's in the best possible way. So go check out Scallywag Productions on YouTube. Mindless Dribble is one of his channels, and he used to do the show. But yeah, go check them out. And then we have Josh and Tim over at the Nerd Informants on YouTube and Facebook. I think they hit 5,000 likes.
Yeah, they did. They did.
Congratulations, guys.
Very envious, guys. Very envious. We'll get there eventually. So.
But Tim and Josh, they're locals here. I used to play D&D with them. They're amazing guys, and you're gonna go see stuff about like movies, and right now they're doing some video games and stuff like that, and just some nerdy news and stuff like that. They like to keep things fresh and just talk about all kinds of things that are in the nerd world. And they're amazing. So go check them out and give them a like if you haven't already. And then we have Keith and Gary over at Pop Culture Minefield on YouTube. And they're on Facebook as well. And they have the most amazing guests. They get people I am so envious of on their show. They're not as kid friendly as we try to keep it over here at GeekyKOOL, but they're funny. And if you don't mind a little bit of adult situations talked about, go check them out. Brittany's on there sometimes too, right?
She is. Yeah. I check that out and see if she's going to become a regular for them, or and love to have her show up over here for us some point too, because she's awesome. So
would be that's awesome. So go check them out, and then don't forget to go give us a like, share our page, so that we can maybe, like, I don't know, get close to that 5,000 likes. That would be kind of really cool.
Be really cool.
Go give us a like and invite your friends who are geeky as well to our Geeky Cool page on Facebook. We have our Geeky Cool website as well. We're on YouTube. This streams to YouTube and Facebook, and we're on Twitter. So go check us out. We bring you all kinds of geeky coolness and reviews, articles. I do artist spotlight. So if you're an artist, whether it's comic books or writers, or just somebody who likes to take photos, and you're like, I'm not really an artist, but I consider you an artist. If you'd like to be spotlighted, hit me up, and I do interviews of that kind of thing too. So, and then we have lots of people who write for us though. So all kinds of voices over at GeekyKOOL.
That's right. That's what we're hoping for. If you're interested in being one of our voices, either doing videos or writing for us, let me know. Larry.Lytle@GeekyKOOL.com. Shoot me an email, put a comment after the video or on our page. Be glad to talk to you about what that would be like. So we're always wanting to expand and pull in more voices, because everybody's got something cool to say. So especially about being.
We have Scallywag does videos for us, and then we have Damon who does like a lot of like video game stuff for us, and we have John who does reviews, and you do reviews, and you post, like, you are so good about posting updates of like what's going on in the geeky world. I bring some geeky girlness to the site sometimes. We have all kinds of great writers who write for us, some of us more often than others, but yeah, he's a great editor too. So he's not like down your throat about like deadlines. That's important.
It is important. Well, considering what I pay. See, there you go. There you go. Maybe someday when we're the size of Newsarama and IO9 and those guys, that'd be great. But
guys, if you haven't liked our page yet, go like our page on Facebook. If you haven't subscribed to our website, like updates and stuff, you can do that on there.
You can.
And you can kind of get emails when something new pops up on GeekyKOOL and stuff like that. So
which is daily. It is daily, usually several times a day, but we will have some sort of article, movie trailer, something for you every day. So come check us out. We'll hit that geek or nerd kind of feel there for you. So, all right, well, that's all for the show today. We will be back next week, probably on Tuesday. That's the assumption, unless AJ breaks something else. But we're gonna hope not. Talking about that, we did have one last comment here. So let's get here, because that's crazy. 30 surgeries. I've had 2 surgeries, and wow, 30 is amazing.
He's the same age as me, too. We went to school together. So
we're 25 also.
Yeah. Yeah, you keep saying that. My kid's 25. I just can't even lie.
Hey, it makes me feel younger to call you 25, because I'm older than you. So.
No worries. Anything that makes you feel younger, you do it. It's good. It's all good. Well, guys, we will see you next week. Be sure to go check out all our friends and go check out our website as well. And if you guys have any questions or comments or something, just hit us up on GeekyKOOL on Facebook or on our website, or hit Larry up if you want to become a contributor too.
That would be great. All right. Stay geeky, guys, and we'll see you next week.